My name's Lauri Perry, and I'm 46 years old. And actually, it's my first child, Clark, who's 9 now, who has autism. And the autism did really manifest itself when he was 4. It was so hard to talk to him because it was like gremlins had attacked his body. He went from this sweet 3-year-old to all of a sudden he couldn't stop pacing, he couldn't stop wiggling his fingers, and he just pulled inward. My younger son, Owen, was born right as we realized Clark was having these problems. So we weren't sure if Clark had autism. And so I think that's what made it even harder, was that I had a newborn baby that was born with a cleft lip and who never stopped crying. And then I had this child that was Clark, who was pulling inwards, who was 3 years old and 4 months. And I was like, we never slept for probably 3 years until, so I had 2 children that needed me. And I think that was probably why I was in such a deep, dark hole, is that I was pulled in so many different directions. I've been through a lot of therapy myself because I went into a deep depression over this, because I felt like it was on my watch that Clark, I should have known, I should have seen signs, I should have been a better advocate for him and pushed harder. You had all these hopes and dreams, and then for your child, and then all of a sudden someone said, your child has autism. And you realize, your child may grow up and never marry, may not have friends, may not have children. And that, to me, was the worst thing I'd ever read about autism, is that the idea of him being lonely and what would happen to him when we passed away. I couldn't get out of bed if I thought that way. And I couldn't function if I thought that my child was never going to get better and was never going to have friends. And I just refused to believe that. And actually, I guess that gave me the courage to get up every day and to fight this disorder. It is probably one of the hardest things I've ever fought. I mean, it's an invisible enemy that comes in, and you don't know when it's going to take your child away. If it's the next 5 minutes or the 5 minutes before that, you have no warning. At that point, I had gotten so worn down by the teachers, the principals, my own clinicians were saying that maybe my expectations were too high for Clark. As a parent, the best thing that I've learned in the last 5.5 years is trust your own intuition. You know your child better than any doctor, teacher, principal, clinician, and that you have to trust your gut. I think the thing to realize, that it's taken me 5 years to realize, is that it's okay to grieve. That I actually was grieving at the same time as I was trying to learn and help my son. And there was a couple that we've known since we were married for 21 years. I always ask the question, why? Why did this happen? Why me? And he said, well, maybe you were destined to have this because you're a good advocate. It was your job to go out and educate people about autism. And the fact that Dave and I have we've been fortunate to have the financial wherewithal to give our child Clark as much therapy as he needs, that I can go out and advocate for those families that don't have the wherewithal or the time or the money to hire a sitter to be able to go do these things. That's my job, I feel like, is to advocate. In Washington State, there is no insurance coverage for it. Some insurance companies will pay for the occupational therapy or the speech therapy, but not the therapy that really gives your child a lot of the good results. Doctors won't take you until you have insurance. I wish at the time Clark had been diagnosed almost 6 years ago that I had been able to connect with other moms and find other families who had children with autism. It would have been nice to be able to have had somebody who'd been down the road a little bit ahead of me to help me find the resources instead of being on my own. The things that can help me get more comfortable with Clark's going into the preteen years, the high school years, and adult years, is that I do see that I've gotten involved with working with different autism associations, that I've met other parents, and I've met parents that do have older children, and they're able to sort of keep us aware of what they are trying to do to help their children. But it took a long time. It's taken me probably 5 years to find the network of people, of parents, to sort of at different ages and different, that have had different experiences, and by talking with them to get that feeling of that there is hope and that there are positive things out there that we can do to help Clark. My weapon is to just keep loving him and encouraging him, and to keep talking to him until he does answer my questions. I'm still struggling with the depression, but I'm in a much better place, healthier place than I was 3 years ago. I was probably at the bottom of the big black hole that we'd fallen into. Probably I'm better because I see that my son, Clark, is doing better. And so as he gets better each day or each month or each year, that actually helps my progress.